action that took place this weekend in the NBA. I saw a new young star in Anthony Edwards. I saw John Morant fall. I saw Steph Curry and Klay Thompson in the lineup, but Jordan Poole, who was in the G League last year, put on a show. And I saw, yes, I'll say it, Kyrie Irving put on a show. Not just during the game, but after the game as well. Stephen A., Molly, Big Perk in the house. Like the tie, Perk. Like the tie. But not as much as I like this vest. First takes in the house. Let's go.
I come into this building, what it's going to be like, but it's the same energy they have for me, and I'm going to have the same energy for them.
The TD Garden has become a hostile place for Kyrie Irving.
Embrace it. Embrace it. It's the dark side. Embrace it.
Irving, step back three, puts it in. What a fourth quarter masterpiece from Kyrie Irving.
The only thing you got to do is just try to figure it out. When you do that, it feels good. It feels really good.
Jaylen Brown kicks it out. Smart fakes inside. Tatum spins and he puts it in. And what a thrilling finish to game one of what could be one of the all-time series.
Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday weekend. Kendrick Perkins, top of the morning to you, sir. Stephen A., good morning from the West Coast. I'm Molly Karam, and gentlemen, a lot of playoffs to get into, so let's do it. What a game. Jason Tatum's buzzer-beating layup gave the Boston Celtics a dramatic 115-114 win over the Brooklyn Nets. Perk loved it in their series opener on Saturday. Tatum scored 16 of his 31 points in the second half, along with adding 8 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal. Meanwhile, Kyrie back in the city he left, and Boston fans salty. More on that in just a second. Irving scored a game-high 39 points for the Nets. Kevin Durant put up 23, but went 9 of 24 from the floor, including some open trailing looks in transition. Kyrie flipping off the Celtics crowd on 2 separate occasions. Boston fans do not play, booing him every shot they got. Kyrie had that big energy Sunday, matching the fans' intensity. I'll let him explain.
You know, it's nothing new when I come into this building, what it's going to be like, but it's the same energy they have for me, and I'm going to have the same energy for them. And it's not every fan. I don't want to attack every fan, every Boston fan, but, you know, when people start yelling and you and all this stuff, it's but so much you can take as a competitor. And, you know, we're the ones expected to be docile and be humble and take a humble approach. Nah, that's the playoffs. This is what it is.
From a basketball standpoint,
yeah,
do you feel like the hostility you get?
There's no hostility, bro. It's basketball.
Well, you were flicking some people off. I'd say that's some hostility.
From what? What point? Are you guessing that that's hostility, or like hostility for me is like growing up?
Well, we've never seen that from you this season, where you are running down the floor flicking people off.
This is the first time you actually caught it because it's a big-time game. I respond in different ways. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to focus on that. If you want to ask me questions about the fans, go ask them. Go on the street and ask them questions. All right?
But I'm asking from your perspective, from a basketball perspective, do you feel like the hostility that you get?
It's not hostility,
fans,
bro.
Do you feel like the energy you get from fans in this building brings out the best from you?
Embrace it. Embrace it. It's the dark side. Embrace it.
Nick not backing down there either. Embrace it, SA. It's the dark side. Bigger headline, Kyrie scoring or that fan banter?
Well, I'm going to say it's a pick 'em as far as I'm concerned, because he was absolutely sensational, and I'm not going to deflate the performance that he put on by saying that what happened in the aftermath of it, is something that it takes away from the performance, because it does not. He was absolutely sensational, and he deserves a lot of credit. Should he have done that? Here's the problem. No, because obviously he's going to get fined by the league. Knowing the league and its rules and stipulations, he deserves to be fined. But I have to tell you this. Are you ready for this, KP? I completely support Kyrie Irving on this. 1,000%. I found absolutely positively no problem with what Kyrie Irving did whatsoever. The fact of the matter is the fans were coming at him. They were bringing that mess. No, I don't condone violence. I don't condone you going and attacking fans and all of that other stuff. But you know what? He knew when he flipped the bird at the fans that he knows he's going to get fined. He made a decision, I don't care. And the reason why he said I don't care is because of what they were subjecting him to. I'm sorry. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. Not even a little bit. The fact of the matter is that he didn't impede the game. A matter of fact, he made the game even better. He went on, and while he was flipping them the bird, he was busting their living. You know what? That's what he was doing. He wasn't sitting up there and having to be restrained and getting into all engaging in histrionics and having to be restrained and all of this. That's not what happened. Kyrie Irving was looking at them after one jumper after another, one layup after another, one dance move after another on Marcus Smart or Tatum or whoever the hell was trying to guard him. He was doing what the fans did to him because they brought the smoke. So he said, let's get it on. And what he was doing was basically replicating what's emblematic of what transpires on the playground and beyond. Excuse me, you want to talk some smack? I'm not going to fight you or anything. This isn't a boxing match. This is a basketball game. But you want to talk smack at me? I'm going to talk it at you. Now, they have justification in terms of why they have the vitriol they do have for him because he was there. He wasn't at his best when he was there. He told them he'd want to stay, and then he departed. So they really love it. They really hate the fact that they love him so much, and he's no longer wearing a Boston Celtics uniform. That's really what this is about, because a sensational talent like that, you want in your uniform as opposed to the opposition. But all of these people out here that are going to try to use this to go up against Kyrie Irving. I got things against Kyrie Irving. We know where my position is. The damn man misses too many games. All right? And by the way, this is exactly for people out there that think that, oh, every time he scored, every time he puts on the show, that makes Stephen A. look bad. No, you fools. It actually makes me look good. It buffers my point. This is what I want to see all the time. I don't want to see that 20, 23 games a year. I want to see this brother walking through the turnstiles and putting on the majestic performances few people on this planet have ever been capable of putting on display like he does. I stand here this morning completely supporting Kyrie Irving defending himself against that shrapnel of vitriol that was thrown in his direction. You, Boston, your team has to do something about it because clearly as a fan base, you can't do much about it because you can't play against Kyrie Irving. You need the Celtics to help you. And yesterday, they seemed ill-equipped to deal with that brother. I like it. It didn't bother me one bit because he explained himself in the post-game conference, KP. He talked about what they were saying to him. I understand exactly where he's coming from, and this is not a day that I'm going to go against Kyrie Irving on this.
Well, it's hard, too, to go against some Stephen A. Look, here's the thing, right? I spent 8.5 years in Boston. I won the championship there. I love the energy there. They have one of the best, if not the best, fan base in basketball.
I say this, listen, we all know that the city of Boston has had its share of criticism. People have pointed a finger at their fan base, et cetera, et cetera. I'm here to tell you as somebody that's been in Boston many times, for many games, I love their fan base. I love the energy. I love the vitriol they throw in the direction of fans and all of this other stuff. The few bad apples that take it a step further and all of that other stuff, that's a different discussion for another day. But that is not representative of the Boston fan base inside a TD Bank or the old Boston Garden. The fact that they bring that level of fervor and hostility for the visitors is a beautiful, beautiful thing for the home team. It's a beautiful thing for the Celtic fan base. I love the fact that they are that way. But in the same breath, I will piggyback off of what you said. Kyrie Irving is a different breed. Let me be more direct with this, KP. Kyrie Irving ain't Ben Simmons. He ain't fazed by that stuff, okay? That emboldens him, that fuels him. I'm in Philadelphia when Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn shows up for the first time to go up against James Harden, when there were stories percolated. And it wasn't from some blogosphere, Kevin Durant or anybody else. It was from newspaper reports all over the country about Kyrie Irving and James Harden. That wasn't just one blogger or some satire or whatever that was coming on. The Philadelphia media was talking about that stuff as well. Kyrie Irving, and not only that, you also saw the backdrop that Ben Simmons had to deal with just when he was walking to the team bus and the vitriol that was thrown in his direction. Kyrie and KD rolled up in Philadelphia and said, we're going to shut this down. That's what they did. They're built like that. They're made of that cloth when it comes to the sport of basketball. So again, Kyrie Irving is going to be fined because if you're the NBA, you can't condone that visual that he provided, and we understand that. But I think it's important to recognize Kyrie Irving is fully aware that he's going to be fine. Kyrie Irving didn't care because Kyrie Irving saying this is a different animal, and I'm going to show you a different animal in me. I'm coming for y'all, and you better beware. And then he went on the court and put on a show. And if that Kyrie Irving shows up for the rest of this series, I am very confident in my pick that Brooklyn will end up winning this series in 7 games. Because what you saw from Kevin Durant last night, you ain't going to see it, or yesterday afternoon, you ain't going to see that again. You ain't going to see that again.
Well, Stephen A., you're right. And listen, let me take it another notch, okay? Watching that game last night and watching Kyrie Irving, to me, it was like watching Kobe Bryant all over again. And not just the skill set, I'm talking about the killer mentality where you could see it in Kyrie's eyes, right? The mentality. And so when I'm looking at it, I'm like, hold on. Like, this dude right here, man, I'm like, you have to have a different type of mental, a different type of psyche when you walk into the environment knowing. But then you got to look at who was guarding them. Molly, you looking at Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Those 3 guys are elite perimeter defenders, and they didn't have an answer for him last night. Yeah. I'm telling you, look, this guy Kyrie Irving, he's just on a different level.
No question. When you talk about Kobe was his mentor, right? That's who he idolized. But let's get into the defense a little more. And, guys, I mentioned this earlier. So Kevin Durant put up 23 points but went 9-24 from the floor. Rarely does KD have to point the finger at himself. KD, how is the Boston defense to manage?
Good job of forcing me away and then helping in the paint. I just got to be more fundamental on my moves. I feel like some shots went in and out for me today, but I still got to I played fast and turned the ball. I mean, I just got to slow down and play my game. But they did a good job of making me see bodies.
Perk, you started to touch on it. Let's delve deeper. Was the Celtics defense just too physical for KD?
Molly, Stephen A., look. KD got punked yesterday. And for the first time, I haven't seen this Kevin Durant in a long time. Yes, when I look at what Grant Williams and Jason Tatum was doing to him, they were getting physical. They were pushing him off the spot. KD was flailing and flopping everywhere. And you know what? Jason Tatum took ownership of actually guarding him yesterday. For the first time since Giannis Antetokounmpo, I never seen anybody guard Kevin Durant straight up and block his shot. Now, look, would KD struggle the entire series? Probably not. I'm guessing he won't. I've seen this movie before. But yesterday's game, KD got exposed on from the physicality aspect. They were physical. They were bumping him. They were into him. They were frustrating him. And those turnovers wasn't just careless turnovers, Stephen A. They were forced turnovers, active hands, getting into his body. So you can roll your eyes and you can start. If you want to go there today, that's fine with me. But the fact of the matter is they were into Kevin Durant yesterday. That's what it is, Stephen A.
You should be ashamed of yourself for uttering those words out of your mouth. You have been around too long. You have watched too much basketball. You have participated in too much basketball to use the word punked when it comes to Kevin Durant and his offensive prowess. If somebody pushed him around and they were scoring a bunch of points on him and stuff like that, that would be different. But from an offensive standpoint, you know good and damn well Kevin Durant did not get punked. That is asinine, okay? The fact of the matter is Kevin Durant started off the game. I would get where you're coming from if all of a sudden the fourth quarter rolled around, the game got tight, and Kevin Durant suddenly performed that way. Kevin Durant was off from opening tap. Shots that he normally make, he missed. He was elevating. There were times that the shots were contested. There were other times that he had boogied on somebody, got enough space to get his shot off, and missed shots we see him make all day long. He had an off day. This is one of the most efficient offensive superstars we have ever seen in our lifetime. He had an off day. He had like 3 turnovers in the first few minutes of the game, for crying out loud. Like he said, he was playing too fast. He needed to slow down. That's all that it was. To sit up there and to say that Kevin Durant got punked. Kevin Durant of all people, considering what he brings to the table offensively, that he got punked by anybody. Anybody. This is a brother that can drop 50 in his sleep. Come on, KP. That's too harsh. Yeah. I can't believe I'm telling you that something is too harsh. That is entirely to say he got punked. That's harsh.
He did. Look, let me explain something to you, Stephen A. When Kevin Durant sit up there and say that he was moving too fast, you know why he was moving too fast? Because the defense sped him up. You ever heard of that term? The defense sped him up. The intensity was there, okay? So then when you go to the other side of it about his missed shots, they got a term in the locker room. Make them miss. Don't hope that they miss. Meaning, it's a different type of contest. Meaning, I saw Al Horford. I saw Al Horford last night, late in the fourth quarter, switch out on Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant couldn't get separation to get his shot off. Again, when it mattered the most, and they went to KD, Jason Tatum blocked Kevin Durant's shot yesterday. And I believe it was twice. But Stephen A., I'm talking about the physicality. Did you see when Kevin Durant was running up trying to set the high pick and roll for Kyrie Irving and they was trying to create the switch? And did you see the way that Jason Tatum was bodying him up to the point where he was flailing?
Hold on. No. I've seen that before from Kevin Durant. I've seen it happen to him before. It didn't stop him from dropping 40. What I'm saying to you, hold on. He's a skinny dude. So you're going to see moments in a game where something like that happens. My point is, it doesn't stop him from doing what he did. Let me throw this at you. I'm just looking at his numbers here. Kevin Durant in his career has played 939 games. He is a career 27-point-per-game scorer on better than 49% shooting and doesn't look like he's gained a pound since he arrived in the NBA back in 2007. The brother is a skinny dude, so from a physical standpoint, you're going to see people try to push him around. My point is, it never stopped him. It never stopped him from doing what he does. The fact that he shot 9 for 24 yesterday afternoon, and just had a bad shooting game does not mean he got punked, KP. That's all I'm trying to say.
So, Stephen A., but we're not talking about his career. We're not talking about his career. We're talking about the game.
I just brought up yesterday.
We're talking about yesterday. And so when I'm looking at yesterday, not his career, Kevin Durant yesterday, we have to give credit where credit is due to Jason Tatum, to Marcus Smart, and to Grant Williams.
Defense.
They got it. No, they played great defense, and it started with the physicality.
But wait a minute,
and he shied away from it. Let me tell you how disengaged Kevin Durant was. Okay. Did you see the last 10 to 15 seconds of the game?
Yeah, he blew the assignment on Jason Tatum.
First of all, he blew the offensive possession before that with a bad shot that he had to take a long contested three.
Yeah, but that was after Kyrie went around a double team and kicked it to him with seconds left in the clock.
Because Stephen A., think about it. They was trying to get the switch and they couldn't because Jason Tatum physicality, the way they was bodying KD up, he couldn't get a good screen for Kyrie so he could come off to get the switch.
But
and then on the defensive end,
But most of the people that go up against KD are either shorter or smaller. Jason Tatum is one of those rare dudes, which is why we love him, because not only can the brother ball, look at the size on him. He's a legit 6'9", and he's got an NBA physique, and he's got a long wingspan. So the problems that he could pose defensively are what other people can't pose. What I'm saying to you is good defense is good defense. Great defense is great defense. The Boston Celtics play great collective defense. That doesn't mean that Kevin Durant got punked. That's all I'm saying.
So Stephen A., are you sitting up here telling me that when it mattered the most yesterday, you trusted KD 100%? Are you sitting up here telling me that Kevin Durant was? Are you sitting up here telling me that Kevin Durant was Kevin Durant fully engaged yesterday?
No,
was Kevin Durant fully engaged?
He had a bad game, KP.
I know that.
Let me ask you a question. Are you trying to tell me that late in the game, despite his struggles, you didn't trust Kevin Durant?
I'm going to tell you this, that late yesterday in the game, I wanted the ball in Kyrie Irving's hands. I tell you that much, and not Kevin Durant.
But that's because Kyrie Irving wasn't missing. I mean, my God, he wasn't missing.
No.
That's the reason why not only is he spectacular, but he had that hot hand. But that still doesn't answer my question. Are you saying that you did not trust KD in the fourth quarter, that you didn't trust him in a late game situation? Is that what you're saying?
Not yet. Not yesterday, because I saw it in his body language, Stephen A. And you just said it. Look, you rolling your eyes, but you just said it. From the start of the game, when have we ever seen KD with those many turnovers? And we not going to sit up here and give credit to the Boston Celtics defense and the personality? I
saw KD in a Game 6 in the Western Conference Finals against the Golden State Warriors come up small. I saw KD in a Game 7 against the Golden State Warriors come up smaller than I thought he would. But the question is whether or not I have faith. I was shocked when I saw what I saw, but it didn't diminish my faith in what this brother can do at any given moment because he's KD.
Stephen A., you saw it. I actually lived it, okay? So I know what Kevin Durant is capable of doing.
Which is why it's blasphemous that you're saying what you're saying.
No. I witnessed Kevin Durant struggle against a Memphis Grizzlies team where Tony Allen was doing the same thing that Jason Tatum and Grant Williams and Marcus Smart was doing to him. He was getting punked so bad that the newspaper article in the newspaper from Oklahoma City called him Mr. Unreliable. He was getting punked that bad, but he bounced back in Game 6. I'm not sitting up here saying that Kevin Durant is not going to bounce back. I'm not sitting up here saying that KD is not going to have a great Game 2, because I think he is. I'm talking about yesterday in particular. They caught him off guard, and they hit him with physicality that he wasn't expecting. And so, with that being said, he got punked, and you know you would.
And I don't think it's that he wasn't expecting it. My problem with KD, for the most part, I thought he was looking for calls entirely too much instead of just playing his game. They were looking for the referees to help them out because they came into the series knowing they were undersized, knowing that Boston had some size in their favor and the physicality, and as a result, they were saying, we're looking to get some calls. And they were playing too tentative in that regard rather than just trying to smoke them.
Perk, last word here, then I got a question for you. You want to get one more thing off your chest? Okay, this is all I was going to say. I understand in that moment, Stephen A. trusted him, you didn't, Perk. I get all that. But tell me this, Perk, what do you expect in the next game? Because we've seen him after a bad game and how he responds.
Oh, yeah, look, I expect him to come out there and do what he do. We already know KD is a basketball mind. We know that KD carries a lot of, he carries a chip on his shoulder. And look, he cares about the game. And he watches everything. He's going to watch film. He's going to see how they're playing them. He's going to come out and make his presence known in Game 2. I've lived this through. I lived this with him. I know what type of guy what type of player he is. I know his mentality. He's not going to shy away from the moment. He has to bounce back because yesterday, Jason Tatum got one up on him.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum outperformed him yesterday.
Yeah, and we'll go there next. Stephen A.
That is true. Tatum did outperform him, but here's the bottom line. KD is dropping 40 in Game 2. He's dropping 40 in Game 2. You can book it, and he's averaging at least 30 for the rest of the series.
Okay,
I promise you that.
I'm not arguing that.
I didn't say you were. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen because KD going to see this segment. He going to see his brother and former teammate KP saying what he just said, and KD will eradicate all notion of that nonsense. He's dropping 40 in Game 2.
Okay, fair enough.
Bank Guard. Okay.
But let's just keep in mind, this was Boston's defense without Robert Williams. But let's get to Jason Tatum. The only questions I had about that man yesterday was the shirt he wore post-game, but that's a different story. He's been on a tear, and it continued. You saw that little lace thing last night. So clutch, 31 points, 8 assists, and the buzzer beater to give the Celtics the 115-114 win in the 1-0 series lead. Big Perk, what did Tatum prove to you?
Oh, that he's a top 10 player in the NBA. And it shouldn't have been just yesterday, but what he's been doing over the last couple of months. Look, No one has ever questioned Jason Tatum for as his talent. The only thing I ever questioned about Jason Tatum was his mentality, meaning I wanted to see the passion. I wanted to see the killer in him. I wanted to see the kiss of death that he's been doing lately. That's the Tatum I want to see. And so if you notice, the way that Boston plays, they feed off the energy of Jason Tatum. And now we're seeing a different version of him. I'm seeing him getting into KD defensively. The start of the game, I'm saying, hold on now. He's checking KD, and he wants the smoke on the other end. This is the Jason Tatum that we've been looking for. But right now, when it comes from being a talent aspect, and now he's taking that leap for his leadership and showing people why he's a franchise player, he's definitely in the top 10 for his top 10 players in the NBA.
I couldn't agree with Kendrick Perkins more. I have no disagreement there. I know we're supposed to be debating. There's no disagreement there. There's no doubt. Jason Tatum's a top 10 player. Jason Tatum is a young star in this league, and I love the fact that he's showing more of his personality. He's going after it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He's going for it, and that's what you want to see. And this is the thing, KP. I mean, for me personally, just doing Countdown this week and just sitting there with Greeny and the fellas and the whole bit, Will Bond and Jalen, here's my thing. What I loved about what we saw this weekend is that we saw stars who want to be stars. We saw stars who answered the call.
Thank you.
They ain't just looking the money and going elsewhere. It's like, this is the big stage. Let me show you that I want this, okay? That's why I can be mad at Kyrie Irving for being gone more than half the damn season, because I know what he does when he steps on the court, and I think the borough of Brooklyn and the city of New York and everybody else in between deserves to see that on a more regular basis. You see Trae Young and what he did. You saw Donovan Mitchell in the second half and what he did. You saw Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards. He's coming, y'all. We'll talk about that later. And then you saw Jason Tatum yesterday do what he did. And this is the thing. Now, me personally, this is where I got to get on some people. You know, Brian Colangelo was running the Sixers, and they had the third pick. And he got hosed by Danny Ainge because Danny Ainge convinced him that he wanted Markelle Fultz. And he gave up a pick just to move up in the draft to the #1 overall pick. Instead of Jason Tatum, he drafted Markelle Fultz. Okay? We wish Markelle Fultz nothing but the best. Just came back from an injury. We know he's had some issues, but we wish him nothing but the best. He's got some promise, but he ain't no damn Jason Tatum. Even though Lonzo Ball is hurt, when he was playing, okay, he was the #2 overall pick by Irving Magic Johnson's Los Angeles Lakers. They needed a point guard. They needed somebody that was a local product, and they got this brother from Chino Hills instead of Tatum. Can we fantasize for a moment here, Kendrick Perkins? Could you imagine if LeBron James had joined a Lakers squad with Jason Tatum? Could you imagine? I mean, I promise you this. We wouldn't be talking about the Lakers being out of the playoffs. We wouldn't be talking about them struggling to make a play-in game. I promise you that. I promise you that. So I think about Philly, and I think about the Lakers. They had the #1 and #2 pick in those drafts, and they passed on Jason Tatum for Markelle Fultz and Lonzo Ball. We need to remember that when we're talking about Jason Tatum, because Jason Tatum is a star. Jason Tatum has superstar written all over him. This is a special, special brother. And I think, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to look at how old he is now. The brother's 24. He's 24 years old. My God. 6'9", wingspan over 7 feet, handle, can shoot from 3, mid-range game, can score in the open court, can finish at the basket, and he can defend. On both ends, this brother is big time, and he's put everybody on notice.
And he's making people around him better now.
Absolutely. Hey, real quick, guys, I just want to give KD his flowers. I know it was a loss, but he did pass Jerry West yesterday. He's now #8 on the all-time scoring list, so congrats to him on that.
And he'll be climbing. He'll be top 3 before his career is over.
Yeah,
top
for sure.
3.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. Just getting started. Plenty more playoff basketball to get into. That would be the Sixers, and Perk is going to be all about it. What pressure? James Harden silencing the critics game 1, making easy work of the Toronto Raptors in a dominant 20-point victory Saturday. But it wasn't just Joel Embiid and Harden, who we usually talk about. Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, all putting in work. Big Perk, I know how high you were on this team after this trade, saying they're the best duo in the league. Have the Sixers silenced all the doubters?
Absolutely. Hey, Molly, Stephen A., y'all ever had grilled dinosaur? Huh?
No.
You ever had a grilled dinosaur? No, I haven't either, but the Philadelphia
exactly.
76ers did. They had it the other day. Yeah, they did. Listen,
You're
here's
wrong
the thing.
for that.
Here's why I say this, right? Here's why I say this, okay? All I was hearing about was Nick Nurse and Doc Rivers, and Nick Nurse is going to coach circles around Doc Rivers, and you better watch out for the size and athleticism, the perimeter, and this, that, and the other, and all this. And I came back and I said, listen, the 76ers have home court advantage. I said Doc Rivers hasn't showed his hand yet. I said the 76ers have a better team. And guess what ended up happening? The 76ers having home court advantage, they won the game. And it's not that they just won the game, it's how they won the game. Joel Embiid shot 5 for 15 last night from the field. Other day from the field. James Harden was 6 for 17, and they won. They won on the backs of Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey. Like, those guys put on the clinic, and it goes to show me that the Philadelphia 76ers have it within them to play the game the right way. Like I told you before, Stephen A., the regular season is over with. So I saw Joel Embiid making the right passes. I saw Joel Embiid and James Harden trusting his teammates. I saw them making the pass on time, on target. You know why? Because now Joel Embiid has captured the scoring title. Now he's in the MVP conversation. See, when you get to the playoffs, it's agenda-free basketball. It's all about getting the win. It don't matter how you get it. It don't matter who put up the points. It's just walking out and getting that win that particular night. And with the Philadelphia 76ers, others showed me, even Milton coming off the bench and having 10 points, they showed me that they're forced to be reckoned with.
Kendrick Perkins, who in the hell was doubting the Sixers against Toronto? Who are these people you're talking about?
You, Stephen A., listen.
Who are they?
You know as well as I. No.
We said
well,
Harden got to produce. We didn't sit up there and doubt the 76ers against Toronto. We said Harden has to show up. What's he going to show us? Because a lot is on the line for him, and as a result, Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey, because he was acquired. We're not looking at the Toronto Raptors. They better win this damn series. They better win this. Anunoby, Pascal Siakam.
Oh, man.
I respect them.
My.
They can play. Van Vliet's a champion. Siakam's a champion. We get all that. But Embiid and Harden, you better not lose to them. You better not lose to them. So let's just pump the brakes a little bit. The reason why I'm saying silence the doubters, silence really, who do they play next if they win this series against Toronto? That would be Miami.
The Miami Heat.
That would be the Miami Heat. Now, let me ask you a question. There ain't going to be some doubters then? Who going to be silent then? When they got to go to South Beach. No. and you going to laugh at that. Hey, KP. I said when they got to go to South Beach. James Harden, they got to go to South Beach. You understand what I'm saying? You just never know. You just never know. You know what I'm saying? There's distractions everywhere. I'm telling you, there's distractions everywhere in South Beach. All I'm trying to say to you is this, okay? When you look at it from that perspective, KP, all I'm trying to say is that there's going to still be doubters. There's going to still be that. You ain't silent the doubters. Ain't nobody think about Toronto. We expect them to beat Toronto, especially now that they got all them injuries. The question is, if you end up going against Miami in South Beach, what you going to do then? The doubters will be out in full throttle at that point.
Stephen A.,
yeah.
Look. If they make it, which is going to happen, okay? I feel like it's going to be the 76ers in Miami. I'm not trying to count the eggs before they hatch, but let's get it out there.
Yeah.
But before this series started, it was a lot of people that had major concerns about this series. Matter of fact, it was a lot of people.
But we still picked the Sixers.
No, not all of us. I didn't. Not once did I have concerns, and I told people, no, I never had concerns about this.
I thought you were saying you picked Toronto. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying you picked Toronto.
No. I never had concerns, and I told y'all that Toronto, and I love Toronto, but I told people that this wasn't going to even be close when it comes to what these guys have to offer. It's just from a talent aspect. But when you see the emergence of Tyrese Maxey, I mean, this guy is special. I see why Daryl Morey didn't want to give him up in no trade offers for no package deal, even when they were sending off Ben Simmons. Look, Tyrese Maxey is going to be the deciding factor on how the Philadelphia 76ers end up in the Eastern Conference. Whether they're able to make a push, whether they're able to make them beat the Miami Heat, the guy is that special. And the thing that I love about him the most is that he's not afraid of the moment. He's not afraid of the moment. And I believe right now that James Harden know that. Harden know that. I think James Harden know that.
We don't agree, but I don't think you're articulating it accurately. Maxey is big time, and I get that. In terms of what we have seen, there's no dispute there. But the reason why he's going to be so huge is because the onus that was initially placed on the shoulders of James Harden will now dissipate. We're not looking for him to average 30 or 35. We're not looking for him to shoot 45% from the field, even though he shot better than 50% from three-point range. We're not looking for that right now. If you go out there and you James Harden and you drop 22 points and 13 to 15 assists, we good with that if Maxey's balling. If Maxey's not balling and Tobias Harris doesn't drop 26 points like he did the other night, like he did Saturday, okay, then more of an onus will be on James Harden. And that's where it gets interesting. The biggest thing that Maxey is doing for 76ers fans and basketball aficionados everywhere is that he is taking an incredible load off the shoulders of James Harden. That's what Maxey is doing that's more profound than anything else.
Yeah, but Stephen A., let's get back to this particular series, because before this, all I kept hearing, and I know it's one game, but you could look at one game like we're looking at the Celtics and the Nets series, and we could say, oh, this is going 7, the way that it was playing out. We're looking at this team, and especially without Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent Jr. in Game 2, the 76ers got full control over this. But just look at how they won that game. It wasn't a competition from the start. And by the way, Siakam played pretty good. Fred VanVleet played pretty good. Even OG and Scotty Barnes had 15 and 10. But the fact of the matter is that what I told y'all, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey stepping up. Embiid was 5 for 15. Nobody would have told me that Embiid would have shot 5 for 15 and James Harden would have shot 6 for 17 and they would have won this game. Not before the series started. And you know I watch every show, even when I'm not on it, so I hear everybody talking. And I heard, oh, we got to see what's going on with Nick Nurse and Doc Rivers. I heard that. I heard it. I know.
I will tell you this, man. I'm looking at the Philadelphia 76ers right now. I went to my file because I just wanted to see their road record, because I remember in the past they were horrible on the road. This time around this year, they were like 27-14 on the road, which is obviously impressive. Here's the key. Thibault can't play in Canada because he committed one of the most idiotic moves in the history of mankind. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm not against the vaccine. I took it, but I'm only going to take 1 dose instead of 2. I mean, I just want to say this before we end the segment, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Pfizer is 2 shots. Moderna is 2 shots. 1 doesn't cut it. You need the second shot. It ain't Johnson & Johnson. It's Pfizer and Moderna. You can't take the damn shot once and forget to take the second shot because you end up being like Thibault. He got to stay in Philadelphia because he ain't even allowed in Canada. That will deplete their bench to some degree. We'll see what happens. I definitely think Philly's going to win Game 2. We'll see what happens in Game 3. Game 3 will determine whether the series is going 5 or longer.
Big Perk, we got to roll, but I just want to ask you this right now, and I'm not trying to mess with you here in all seriousness. If it is Philly-Miami, you'd take Miami, though, right?
I have to think about it, Molly. I have to think about it.
I don't blame you.
I have to see it. 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 So Stephen A's point, it comes down to James Harden. Like, if I see James Harden get better throughout this series and he started to make me feel somewhat comfortable, then I could say, you know what, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to put a popcorn emoji sign up and say, I'm just going to enjoy the show. As of right now, I just can't tell you anything. And I can't tell you this, but I will say
I'm
this.
going to pay
real
attention.
quick.
Right now you're like this emoji. You're not the popcorn. You're the confused emoji. I get it.
am, but
That's fair. I'm there most times in life.
Can we give Doc Rivers some credit?
Why?
Can we give Doc Rivers some credit real quick?
Once the series
because
is
I
won.
thought that was a great that was a great move by him by not starting Tyrese Thibault and taking him out of the starting lineup and limiting his minutes, knowing that you're going to be playing without him for majority of this series, especially on the road.
Good point. All right, let's leave it there, guys. We got a lot more to get into. We are diving back into that Nets-Celtics Game 1 through. Unreal finish. I was watching it at Easter dinner while I was stuffing my face. Jason Tatum's buzzer-beating layup gave the Boston Celtics a dramatic 115-114 win over the Brooklyn Nets in their series opener on Sunday. Tatum scored 16 of his 31 in the second half, along with adding 8 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal. Meanwhile, Kyrie back in the city he left, and Boston fans salty. Kyrie flipping off the Celtics crowd on 2 separate occasions. Boston fans don't play, booing him every shot they got. Irving scored a game-high 39 points for the Nets. Kevin Durant put up 23 points, but went 9 of 24 from the floor, including some open, trailing looks in transition. Katie, how is that defense to deal with?
They did a good job of forcing me away and then helping in the paint. I just got to be more fundamental in my moves. I feel like some shots went in and out for me today, but I still got to be. I played fast and turned the ball. I mean, I just got to slow down and play my game. But they did a good job of making me see bodies.
All right, Big Perk, I mentioned this earlier. No Robert Williams. Did the Celtics have the Slim Reaper's number?
They had his number last game, man. I'm not going to say they have his number for the series because Kevin Durant is going to bounce back, but I will say this again. He got punked in the game 1. He got punked. Yes, he did. Kevin Durant got punked. From a physicality aspect, from Grant Williams to Jason Tatum to Marcus Smart, bodying him up, getting physical with him, making him miss shots, not hoping that he missed shots. They were in the KD. They was hugging him like a cheap suit. And look, at the end of the day, we all know that Kevin Durant is going to bounce back. We know that KD is one of, if not the greatest scorers to ever touch the basketball. I get all that. But at the end of the day, if we was talking about any other all-time great, whether it's LeBron James or Steph Curry, if LeBron was letting somebody do that to him, we would have came up here and called them out. We got to make sure we keep the same energy for Kevin Durant.
You're wrong. And I'm going to tell you how you're wrong. I'm going to prove it to you, Kendrick Perkins. You know, when you were in L.A. a couple of months ago, I asked you to get out of the chair and come over to the side set with me.
Oh, yeah,
and what
funny.
I did was I stood behind you, and I dared the camera to find me. They couldn't even see my feet, and I wear a size 13, okay? They couldn't find me. Well, KP, if you shove me around, I ain't get punked. You 300 pounds. I mean, what are you supposed to do? This is Kevin Durant, man. We know how frail thin he is. You're knocking him for them getting physical with him, and as a result, he didn't perform to the way he's accustomed to perform. He had a bad offensive day at the office. But when you say somebody gets punked, let me tell you what punked means to me. Somebody's scared. Somebody's game is altered because there's something about the opposition that's fearful for them, and they are thwarted because of it. Are you going to sit here with a straight face and tell me that Kevin Durant, one of the greatest offensive forces the game of basketball has ever seen, anywhere on this globe, anywhere, damn it, in outer space. I mean, they could be on Mars and you could sit up there. That's how foreign it is to find the talent of Kevin Durant. And you're going to tell me that when I mention the word punk, that implies fear, that implies, just a level of friction and resistance that ultimately made you cower, Are you going to say on national television that is what happened to KD as opposed to the fact that he just missed shots that he normally makes? He just missed them. That's all. He just missed them. You're gonna use the word punked, knowing it connotates fear, and you're gonna apply that to Kevin Durant?
Yes.
Oh,
yes, I am. And let me explain to you why, Stephen A. Because when you talk about fear, do I think Kevin Durant is scared in this series? No. But do I think yesterday showed us an example? No, hold on. But do I think what yesterday showed us how when you get into somebody and the way that the Celtics punked him, you could have some type of disengagement? And that's what I saw yesterday. Because if you look at the last play, when Jason Tatum backdoored and got the layup for the game-winning bucket, Kevin Durant wasn't engaged at all. He wasn't engaged the entire game. He's going to make shots at some... Stephen A., how do you have a brain lapse? You're a two-time Finals MVP.
It happens.
You done been on the biggest stage. Not in that moment. Not Kevin Durant. Not the guy that you said is the best basketball player in the world. When you have those moments and you're okay, we can have a debate about that another time.
But when
you are the best basketball player in the world in those defining moments, when you don't have it going offensively, the least you could do is be locked in on the defensive end. It's two sides of the basketball.
It was a bad performance by Kevin Durant. We're not disputing that. You are sitting up here acting like he was scared into that performance, that he was so taken aback by the everybody knows Boston's physical. Everybody knows their defense is elite. You got Marcus Smart, even with Robert Williams out there. You see the addition of White, Theis, and all of these brothers. You see what they've got. You know they're physical. You know they come at you. You know they hang their hat on defensive tenacity. Everybody and their grandmama knows this about the Boston Celtics, which is why Udoka is a candidate for Coach of the Year, even though my vote went to Monty Williams. He's definitely a candidate, top 3 candidate for Coach of the Year because I think he's done a phenomenal job. My point is that he had a bad game. That is entirely different than Kendrick Perkins saying that Kevin Durant got punked. I mean, come on. We just talked about yesterday. I don't care. That's not possible. That's not possible.
Why? But why? Tell me why. And you watched the game last night.
Because the greatness of Kevin Durant on the offensive side of the ball knows no fear. He just had a bad game. Kevin Durant, it doesn't matter. You have yourself have been on this air. So talk about there's no way to guard Kevin Durant. It's impossible. It's impossible. So my point is, he had a bad game. He was missing shots that he normally makes. This isn't the first time he went up against Boston. He just had a bad game. But don't tell me that he got punked like, oh my goodness, he was taken aback. And it was some fear factor that played the role. There is nobody on the planet Earth, no human being that can stop Kevin, that can scare Kevin Durant from dropping 27 a night. No one.
What they did yesterday. The Celtics did. Jason Tatum and Grant. No. Why did he have a bad game? He didn't just go out there and have a bad game.
Why did he have open shots? Was every shot that he took contested? Did he have any open shots?
He had a few. He had about 2 or 3, maybe, out of his 24. He was 9 for 24, Stephen A. And at the point they were into him. That's what.
Can I say this to you, KP? Can I say this to you? I saw at least 3 open threes that Kevin Durant had. Can you go with me on that?
Yeah.
If he makes them, that's 32 points that he would have had.
He didn't make them.
He missed them.
He didn't make them.
He missed them. He was open and he missed them.
He didn't make them.
That's all.
Okay, but Stephen A., but if you're not going to you got to give the credit to the Boston Celtics on why he struggled the way he did. He didn't just come out and say, I'm going to have a bad night. Look, we saw the same situation with P.J. Tucker last year. Was P.J. Tucker not getting into him? Was P.J. Tucker not getting physical with him? But did Kevin Durant handle P.J. Tucker? Yes, he did.
He made shots.
Yesterday it was... Because it was different. You know why? You just talked about Jason Tatum being 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan. You don't think that played a part in the KD missing shots?
Which
you
means
don't think
I'm not saying
that was a huge factor.
Kendrick Perkins, I am not saying. It's hard for me to even talk basketball. I'm not saying that the Boston's defense doesn't deserve credit. I'm not saying they didn't do a hell of a job. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that when you utter the word punked with Kevin Durant, we got to stop the presses right there. We got to pause and say,
no,
wait a minute.
Don't.
What the hell are you talking about? That implies fear. That implies that there was something that was intimidating about you when it came to Kevin Durant. And I'm saying defensively, that does not exist when it comes to Kevin Durant. He might miss some shots. He might make more than he missed some days, miss more than he makes other days. But this brother is the most efficient offensive superstar in the game in terms of his perimeter shooting and everything else that comes with it. He ain't just dunking on people. He shoots from 23 as well. He's Kevin freaking Durant.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
Earlier in the show, didn't you say that the Brooklyn Nets and Kevin Durant, they was too busy whining and looking for fouls? Didn't you say that?
I said they started the game that way. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Why did they start the game that way? Because
they walked into the contest with everybody, including you, talking about how physical Boston plays, and they were looking for calls to get to the free throw line. Open and tap, they were like that. Open and tap, they were like that.
Yeah.
They were looking for calls.
Okay, so is that not somewhat of the definition of fear when you come into the game and you're looking for the calls because you know? So Stephen A, if you're walking into the game you're saying that they walked into the game.
Was James Harden scared all those years he was leading the league in scoring when he kept looking for calls and was getting them and getting to the free throw line? Is CP3 fearful when he's so adroit at what he does on the basketball court that he's a magician at drawing fouls? Is that fear?
You're not about to do that. You're not about to do that right now. We're talking about Kevin Durant yesterday. And all I was alluding to and telling you was that from my eyes, when you bring up the point and you talk about, they were looking for calls, I'm looking at the physicality. I'm looking at Kevin Durant run up the floor without the ball, and I'm looking at the Celtics meeting him early. I'm looking at Grant Williams not letting Kevin Durant get established on the low block, forcing him out, getting up under him, making it physical. That's what I'm looking at. So then it's okay, but it's a cause and reaction because, look, if what happened is if you see that and then all of a sudden you look and they complaining to the refs, guess what? You're complaining because you can't handle the heat at the moment.
I take it back. Kevin Durant might not drop 40. He might drop 50. He might drop 50 in game 2. This is ridiculous.
All right, gentlemen.
We can move on.
I'm not entertained. I'm entertained. Okay.
Let's go.
Let's get into commercial break.
So I'm not there. That's what you got to do now. You got to drink your tea. Okay.
First of all, let me tell you the one advantage of not having you in studio. The studio is like 85 degrees right now, and I love it. You would be sweating your you-know-what off, okay? And I'm just comfortable enjoying myself, glowing in it. Stephen A. makes it like an ice cooler in here, and I suffer for the greater good. Per usual, that's what we do for stars.
What can I say, Molly? I can't take the heat.
I know. Get out of the kitchen. All right, guys. And the Warriors sent a major message to the rest of the West in their Game 1 win. Steph Curry returned to the court from that foot injury Saturday, but it was Jordan Poole making his playoff debut who really shined. Poole as part of that small ball lineup that included Curry, Klay Thompson, Wiggins, and Draymond Green led the team in scoring with 30. Here's Klay and Steph on that Warriors lineup.
As far as being out there with Steph and him and Wiggs and Draymond, it's a scary sight when we really get going. I mean, this is really our first time really playing together.
A lot of shooting, a lot of playmaking, and if we can defend and rebound, you push in transition, like it's really hard to guard us.
It is, Steph, it is. Good to have you back. The Warriors small ball lineup played just 5 minutes together in Game 1 against the Nuggets, but in those minutes, they outscored Denver by 14. Kendrick Perkins. Is that lineup the best in the playoffs?
No, it's not. It's not. And look, I'm not going to sit up here and disrespect the Phoenix Suns whatsoever. When it comes to lineups, they have the best starting five in basketball, okay? And they showed us why in the regular season. They showed us why they represented the Western Conference. I'm not taking anything from the Warriors, but for the life of me, they're playing the Denver Nuggets without Jamal Murray. Can you tell me who they have around the perimeter to stop any one of those guys? They don't have a defensive prowess. They don't have a guy that could get down and slide those puppies. No disrespect to Jeff Green, no disrespect to Aaron Gordon, but those guys look like they were shocked and not ready for the moment last game. So I just got to give that to the Phoenix Suns, and I think Stephen A. is going to agree with me for the simple fact he's been coming on here praising CP3. He's been coming on here. He's been Devin Booker's biggest fan. So I know he's going to come on here and agree with me about the Phoenix Suns having the best starting five in basketball.
That's not entirely correct, Kendrick Perkins. I wouldn't say that. Here's where I'm going with it, bro. You got me, because I got to tell you something, man. We're sitting here talking about the Golden State Warriors. Let me say this as an aside. My God. That performance by CP3 in the fourth quarter last night, that was something to behold. I mean, this dude was just sensational. Just sensational. And when you consider the fact that he's 36, he's going on 37 years of age, to watch him take over that game, you know he's not dunking, y'all. He's not dunking. He's not finishing above the rim. Oh, no. It doesn't matter. The handle is nasty. The decision-making is sublime. I mean, this dude, the stutter step, the hesitation moves, the pull-up threes. It was a show. It was a display. Chris Paul was just sensational. It's that simple. And I love me some Devin Booker and the whole bit. Here's what I will tell you about this Warriors small ball lineup. I had the Warriors winning the chip. Had a little hesitation, some trepidation, because I always assumed that James Wiseman would be back to join the team and Klay Thompson would be back as well. Now, Klay Thompson's done that. Over the last 3 games of the regular season, what was it, 36, 37, 33, something like that. Had 19 in game 1 against Denver. We get all that. Klay Thompson is going to be there, okay? James Wiseman's not. He's out for the season. I wasn't looking for 20 points or anything like that from James Wiseman. I was looking for 15 to 20 minutes and 6 fouls as a big body to sort of spell for either Draymond Green, Kevon Looney. The fact that that wasn't there, and I'm looking at the 2 big dudes in JaVale McGee and Biyombo that Phoenix added, you know, just to make sure they're ready to go against Milwaukee if they got to face Giannis and Lopez and those boys again. And I'm thinking about the undersized Golden State Warriors. And I said, you know something? I don't know how the Warriors can offset this without enough big bodies. But if you got Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry on the floor together, and they are balling, it forces you to go small. And so now it becomes a game of chess. Again, I'm going to look at them and I'm not going to say, you're right, KP, I'm not going to definitively say that they're the best big 3, because guess what? The jury is still out. We got to see them play together. It's usually 1 or 2 that gets off at the expense of a third, as opposed to all 3 being able to come together. Phoenix has shown us that whatever 3 they got on the court, it works because CP3 is at that helm. Golden State has to show me that, because I got to make sure that Klay Thompson is not affecting Poole, or Poole is not affecting Klay Thompson in a negative way, or one of them are not affecting Steph Curry in a negative way. I will tell you that if those 2, and I believe they probably will, if they get it together where the 3 of them on the court together has that kind of cohesion, the Golden State Warriors will win the championship. And so it's going to be real interesting to see what transpires.
Well, let me tell you this. I think we're leaving out this point.
Okay.
DeAndre Ayton. Okay.
Yeah.
The way that this guy has been playing, and I'm not talking about him finishing around the basket or him being a lob threat or you being able to, when they do go small, he's able to punish those mismatches in the paint. I'm talking about his tenacity. It's been on a whole different level. And when you look at one of the few versatile bigs that are out there, I think we overlook him when we start to look at guys like Giannis, when we look at a guy like Draymond Green, which I know he's 6'6", 6'7", but he do play the center position a lot. And we look at a guy like Anthony Davis as far as his defensive presence, being able to switch 1 through 5. I think we don't give enough credit to DeAndre Ayton and what he brings to the table defensively.
There's a reason for that. The reason for that is that he got thoroughly outplayed by Giannis in the finals. Now, that's not to knock him.
Yeah,
that's
but
simply
everybody
to
do.
I'm saying that's simply to say that's what people's living off of. You're right. They're not appreciating him because everyone ain't Giannis. And everybody can't do what Giannis can do at the rim. So that needs to be taken into consideration. Because guess what? Going up against the Golden State Warriors, DeAndre Ayton don't have to worry about a Giannis. Okay, that's not his problem. The problem are the dudes on the perimeter. They're gonna have to deal with Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, and Klay Thompson. They ain't gotta worry. DeAndre Ayton, that ain't his responsibility. That's theirs. Now, when Giannis and those boys come, that would be a different matter if they met in the finals again. I'm just of the mindset that, again, small ball is gonna have to be what it takes for the Warriors to do it. If anybody can do it playing small ball, it is the Golden State Warriors. I think the Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns are on a collision course. That's what I see.
First, they got game 2 tonight. That is in San Francisco. Warriors' third best odds as of right now, according to Vegas, to win the championship. We'll keep it rolling here, guys, or the title. Kyrie Irving had strong comments for Celtics fans after the Nets dropped game 1 to Boston. Can Kyrie Irving back in the city he left, and Boston fans salty? Irving scored a game-high 39 for the Nets. Kevin Durant put up 23, but went 9 of 24 from the floor. Kyrie flipping off the crowd on 2 separate occasions. Boston fans not playing, booing him every shot they got. Kyrie had that big energy Sunday, matching the fans' intensity. Kyrie, tell them.
It's nothing new when I come into this building, what it's going to be like, but it's the same energy they have for me, and I'm going to have the same energy for them. And it's not every fan. I don't want to attack every fan, every Boston fan, but, when people start yelling and you and all this stuff, it's but so much you can take as a competitor. And, we're the ones expected to be docile and be humble and take a humble approach. Nah, that's the playoffs. This is what it is.
From a basketball standpoint,
yeah,
do you feel like the hostility you get?
There's no hostility, bro. It's basketball.
When you were flicking some people off, I'd say that's some hostility.
From what? What point? Are you guessing that that's hostility, or like hostility for me is like growing up?
Well, we've never seen that from you this season, where you are running down the floor flicking people off.
This is the first time you actually caught it because it's a big-time game. I respond in different ways. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to focus on that. If you want to ask me questions about the fans, go ask them. Go on the street and ask them questions, all right?
But I'm asking from your perspective, from a basketball perspective, do you feel like the hostility that you get—
It's not hostility, bro.
Do you feel like the energy you get from fans in this building brings out the best from you?
Embrace it. Embrace it. It's the dark side. Embrace it.
Kirk, it's the dark side. Just embrace it, okay? You're very familiar with the Celtics faithful. Do you have any issues with Kyrie's interaction with them, how he handled himself yesterday?
No, I don't. I actually applaud Kyrie Irving. I actually like him playing that role and going in there because it's great TV. Look, you know what's crazy is that how much now I'm starting to actually love Kyrie Irving and the person that he is. I mean, from what we were 2 years ago, I thought he was weird. I thought he was different. And then all of a sudden I took a step back, and now all of a sudden this guy has really grown on me over the last year and a half as far as how he approaches things and his mindset. See, that mindset I love. I love that he don't mind being alone and standing alone, or being in the atmosphere and embracing that and fighting back. But at the end of the day, if we're going to get that Kyrie Irving that we saw yesterday, that must-see Kyrie Irving, I don't care what he doing. We could talk about him, stomping on Lucky. I don't care if he go and drop it like it's hot on Lucky. If he going to perform the way that he did, handle your business.
Well, I would completely agree with you if he doesn't play 20 games one season, miss another 28 another season, and then this past season missed about 52 or 53 games. If he shows up to work, then I'm good with it. That's all I care about. Having said all of that, as it pertains to this particular issue with Boston, I completely agree with you. I support Kyrie Irving on this. I don't think he did anything wrong, personally. I know he's going to get fined, and I understand that the league has to fine him because there's a level of decorum and professionalism that they expect from their professionals, even though they're subjected to an alarming level of hostility. But I also want to say this. Do I condone the Boston fans going at him with some of the venom and hostility that they have spewed? No, I don't support that. But as long as it ain't a bunch of racial epithets and stuff like that, you know what? When you are in a hostile environment, you're going to get hostility. That comes along with it. As long as people keeping their hands to themselves, they ain't throwing anything at you like they threw at Russell Westbrook when they poured the popcorn on him, or, you know, they're not getting so excessive to the point where LeBron James had to have somebody removed and all of this other stuff. If they're just doing something to throw you off your game, well, guess what? You're going to have to live with that, because this is something that nobody's brought up. But I'm going to bring it up, KP. Because of Ben Simmons and what he's going through, do you have any idea how that's going to incentivize fans in hostile environments to come at players in an effort to gauge what will work and what won't work against them? You got to remember that. If I got a player that is clearly affected by venom and hostility and things of that nature, for whatever reason. Could have been towards a team, it could have been anything. But once publicizing that, unfortunately, I'm not sitting there saying it's right, but because that's been publicized and people are viewing him as an individual that can be rattled, well, guess what? They want to find out who else can be rattled. So you can expect and anticipate a lot more of this. Especially as time goes on, when you see the exorbitant amount of dollars dudes are getting paid, combined with the level of inaction that takes place. Guys sitting out because they want to avoid injuries, they want to avoid getting hurt, or load management and stuff like that. People walking through the turnstiles to pay their hard-earned money and don't get to see the players that they want to see. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. Here in Los Angeles, I am in Los Angeles right now. Do you understand, ladies and gentlemen, that LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George all play in L.A.? Not one of them played in the playoff game this weekend. You have any idea how egregious that is? Does anybody have any idea how egregious that is? That's very egregious. And so when you look at it, and then you combine that with the number of games missed, when you look at a Kyrie Irving, who we're talking about, and again, we applaud his greatness. But the reality of the situation is there's some people that's looking at Boston against Brooklyn, and they're saying, damn, both these dudes should be deep in the playoffs. One of them's going home. You know who they're blaming? They're blaming Kyrie, because they know that if Kyrie had played a majority of those 53 games he missed, Brooklyn wouldn't be a number 7 seed playing in the first round against the number 2 seed. They would have been higher, and you would have faced somebody else and faced a quality team like the Boston Celtics later in the playoffs. So people look at this stuff. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. We should love the fact that Kyrie Irving responded the way that he did. He's showing he cares. He's showing it matters. And more importantly, he didn't answer with vitriol. He answered with an epic performance. And he put them on notice. This is just the first installment. I got more for y'all. And guess what? We should all want to tune in and watch. I will defend Kyrie to the hilt in that regard. These people came at him. He came right back at them. It wasn't a great look. He knows he's going to get fined, but he's willing to accept culpability for that. And as long as there's no violence going on, and he's willing to accept the fine, then I say do what the hell you want to do if they're going to come at you that way. As long as we're getting that performance with no violence whatsoever, I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
No. I'm with you. And look, that game last night felt like the NBA Finals, in my opinion. That's how the vibe felt, okay? But I will say this. Molly, Stephen A., we cannot end this segment and let Bruce Brown off the hook. because you cannot talk noise and you cannot come in after y'all won in the play-in tournament against the Cleveland Cavaliers and talk about, that how the Celtics are going to be missing Rob Williams and basically called out Al Horford and Daniel Tice, and you don't show up at no aspect. And I'm not even just talking box score numbers. I'm talking about defensively. You didn't have a presence whatsoever, Bruce Brown. And by the way, Al Horford answered the call in great fashion. 20 points and 15 rebounds. So I feel like, yes, Kyrie was must-see TV. Kevin Durant, in my opinion, got punked. But Bruce Brown, where the hell you were? You can't be talking noise in the media and talking about another team situation and saying they're going to be lacking rim protection and this, that, and the other and not show up.
That's why Kevin Durant told him to shut the hell up.
That's fair. Guys, we're up against it. We'll keep it going. It's official. Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, those are the three. That's a great fight. Now the real fight happens. No more talk, no more side of the street. Let's go. Stephen A., should Terrence Crawford be intimidated to fight Spence?
Oh, hell no. Not intimidated
What?
at all. Not intimidated at all. Let me tell you something, KP. Let me break this down to you, my brother. You know what I'm saying? I love me some boxing. Here's the deal. I love me some Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr., this is the fight I want to see. This is the one fight more than any other fight I want to see in boxing, okay? Errol Spence Jr. is 28-0 with 22 KOs. He's strong. He's a southpaw. We get all of that. KP, if this were 3 years ago or whatever, before that car accident, I would have went with Spence. I'm not so sure now. And Andre Ward, please forgive me, my brother Andre Ward, because you know how phenomenal he is. And the Charlo twins, I got a lot of love for them. And let me take a moment to give those brothers some shine. And listen, David Benavidez going up against, I don't know about that, Charlo. I don't know. Benavidez is a bad boy, okay? People want Canelo. Canelo, I think, is number one, pound for pound, KP. I think he's number one. But the Charlo twins are something special. I don't think they get nearly as enough love and shine as they deserve. But let me tell you something about Terrence Crawford. This brother's something special. And he's menacing. I mean, the mean mug that you wear, KP, he could actually give you listen. And I'm looking at them against Sean Porter, who I love. I love Sean Porter. I know he's not on their level, but he's a really good dude and he's a really good fighter, okay? And I saw Spence against him, and then I saw what Crawford did to him. It's a different animal, man. And I would have to tell you right now that if I had to pick right now, I reserve the right to change my mind, but if I had to pick right now, I'd have Crawford as the slight favorite.
Yeah, but Stephen A., look, at that time that Crawford, that Earl Spence, that Crawford had fought Porter, that was a different time in Porter's career. He wasn't mentally there for that moment. He wasn't prepped for that moment. He was already transitioning over into the commentating area. You're right about that. So look, right, I can't even bring that part up. But what I will tell you is something going on in the state of Texas, and it's something about those Texas boys. Because we can mean mug you, but at the end of
I didn't see people who fought Crawford walking around to the after party and stuff. He put a few people in the hospital.
But Stephen A., it's about how Earl Spence is not afraid to stand in that paint. He's going to stand toe to toe and stand with you in the trenches, and you don't know if he's going to your body. He's not knowing. You're not knowing if he's going to your body or to your head. That is powerful. So you telling me just because Mike Tyson, you telling me because of the style, the way that Mike Tyson fought, that's not boxing?
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I mean by when I say that's not boxing, in other words, it takes two for you to sit there and stand toe-to-toe in combat. Who's to say Crawford's going to do that? Crawford might do that, or Crawford might move. The point is, we're talking about a boxing match here. And I'm telling you, I suspect, listen, Errol Spence is naturally bigger, okay? Natural welterweight. Obviously, Terrence Crawford moved up, okay? Errol Spence Jr. is a natural welterweight. People have been talking to him going to junior middleweight. He's at 147 right now. I get all of that. What I'm telling you is that Crawford's got power. Crawford is menacing. Crawford is a superb boxer. And I'm telling you right now, don't think for 1 second, that Crawford is just going to get punked. This is going to be a big-time fight. This is a pick-em. This is that close. This is that close.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on this, Stephen A. I love Terrence Crawford, but what I'm saying is, let's give credit what credit is due. Earl Spence has a way of stalking you and cutting off the ring. So yes, I understand Crawford don't have. Okay. Well, let's go to the fight together.
To be continued.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
we could go to fight together. Crawford is a hell of a Crawford is a hell of a boxer, big time.
Crawford and Spencer combined 66-0 with 51 KOs. Now that is a record. It wasn't pretty, fellas, but the Bucks took